From the first-year player draft. The Cubs remain on the hunt, chasing Milwaukee in the NL Central. Chicago's 5 games back. They open a series at home tonight against the Twins, 7-5. Colin Ray takes the ball. The Brewers are home, hosting the Marlins. Logan Henderson, the starter for Milwaukee. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
If there's one thing you can count on, it's 24/7 protection when you bundle home and auto insurance with Progressive. And if there's 2 things you can count on, it's your smoke detector.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Starting today, an air quality alert is in effect. A chance of showers and thunderstorms, with mostly sunny skies and a high near 88. Tonight, patchy smoke and mostly clear skies, with a low around 65. Looking ahead to Sunday, more patchy smoke with sunny conditions and a high near 82. Currently, it's 81 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
The Colonel is the king of chicken. That's why he's always had a beef with beef. But on Wednesdays, he's squashing the beef by frying it. KFC Country Fried Steak is here for only $4.99. Crispy golden outside, tender steak inside. Served with peppery gravy, mashed potatoes, coleslaw, and a biscuit. At last, the Colonel and beef buried the hatchet in gravy. Get the $4.99 Country Fried Steak Wednesdays for a limited time only at KFC.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Not available on third-party ordering platforms. Tax, tip, and fees extra.
Looking to buy or sell a home in Chicagoland? Need trusted legal help with real estate, evictions, or estate planning? Turn to Guthrie and Brady, the happy lawyers serving the greater Chicago area since 1965. With over 50 years of experience, they handle titles and deeds, foreclosures, landlord-tenant issues, wills, trusts, and more. Appointments available evenings or weekends at their Roselle office or right in your home. Call Guthrie and Brady now at 847-524-1215. That's 847-524-1215. Or visit gnblegal.com. Guthrie and Brady, personal, professional, affordable legal services for all of Chicagoland. The happy lawyers since 1965. That's gnblegal.com or 847-524-1215. Guthrie and Brady, trusted legal help made easy, fast, affordable, and experienced. Call today.
It's time to wake up.
Yes!
And lock in to On the Rise.
Yes!
With host Mike Napolitano.
Cub fans have every right to be disappointed if this Cubs team continues on the trajectory that they're on and they miss the playoffs or, at best, get a wild card spot. You are cooked at that point.
Mamma mia!
Dalton Cooper.
Like, I would look out for my friends and be like, hey, you know, if you're ranking a little bit, I'm gonna let you know. I feel like that's a good friend. I'd be like, hey, did you smell yourself, or did you maybe did you fart, but something doesn't smell right.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And Nick Johnston.
For the most part, to be fair, I don't want to completely, justify a sweep, but the Royals are red hot right now. Vinny Pasquantino might be Ted Williams reincarnated. I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
On WRMN 1410 AM, the voice of the Valley.
Welcome in, everyone, to another Saturday edition of AM 1410 WRMN's On the Rise. Myself, Mike Napolitano, in the producer chair today as we are without Nick Johnston. But we have our usual co-host, Dalton Cooper, joining via Zoom, and we have a new face to the show. He may be a temporary co-host. He may be a permanent co-host. We don't know. He may be doing other shows with us, but he is definitely a correspondent here with us on the WRMN Sports Team River Media Network and Fox Sports. Andrew Rubin, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'm glad to be here and glad to get things going here at WRMN.
Absolutely. Dalton, I'll shoot it over to you. How was your week, sir? How you doing? And are you ready to talk a whole bunch of sports?
Weekend ahead of us. I think we're done smoking. That's the good news.
Yeah.
We're done. That's moved out. Still Canada. Canada's trying to get back at us. We've taken everything from them, and they're just trying to get back at us. That's what I've learned this week.
Honestly, I think they're still mad about the gold medals, plural, that we won. Just kind of rub that back in there. But, hey, listen, we didn't knock them out of the FIFA World Cup. They just lost of their own accord. And all three host countries, as we reported here on this show, making it past the group stage. And I think all three went to the round of 16, right? Didn't they all win an elimination game?
Yeah.
Did you see the
acronym?
Yeah. I've seen the acronym.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Canada, United States, Mexico. I'll let you all at home put that together. But anyways, we are well past that, and we are into the FIFA World Cup final. We have the third place match to talk about. But I mean, honestly, just the excitement from the semifinals as well that we got to get to. So we'll jump right into it. We've got so many all-star games to cover from this past week. Plus, Dalton and I weren't on last week to give you a little bit of hockey updates. I'm sure Nick did from the 11:30 to noon hour. I think he talked Bulls Summer League and also Blackhawks offseason. But I'm interested. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm a bad friend. I didn't go back and listen to what he had to say, and then I had to jump off the show to go interview in the dugout Tristan Peters and Will Venable. So didn't get a chance to hear what Nick wrapped up of our show last week, but we had a great show. Go back and tune in if you haven't. But gentlemen, let's jump into this week and starting off like we were talking about with FIFA World Cup final. Dalton, were you able to watch that Argentina game? And boy, oh boy, was that exciting.
That was it's the biggest choke job I think we've seen in recent memory and international stage. Like the way that England had it, and then they just sat on it, and they did exactly what you're not supposed to do in that situation. And it was incredible. I was on Team England. I thought England was the better team. Like on paper, I thought obviously you have Messi on the other side, but the way they lost it was just I don't know if it's forgivable in the English land. They don't have anything else other than soccer. So like a loss like this does so much to a country. I don't know. We'll see.
It is once again not coming home. What a shocker. They are kind of like the Toronto Maple Leafs of soccer, right? Their fans are always talking about it's coming home, and then it's not. So I'm going to swing things over to get an opinion from a gentleman who knows his baseball, but also his hockey. So he knows that Maple Leaf reference. Andrew, have you been dialed into this World Cup, and what are your thoughts of Argentina's late comebacks, especially on the back of Lionel Messi?
So I've actually been way more into the World Cup than I initially would have expected. I think a lot of these games have been really thrilling, going down to the wire, which to me, growing up watching soccer, really didn't seem like it. Most of the games, they get kind of slow towards the end. Team parks the bus, but I think it's just a special player in Lionel Messi making an absolutely special play. Unfortunately for England, like you say, that Maple Leafs, they feel like they're cursed. And until it actually happens for them, that's the nonstop narrative that people are going to be pushing. But they fell victim to potentially probably the greatest player of all time. Sent an absolutely beautiful ball in for that goal. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. I feel bad for England, but at the same time, I kind of like to see them lose. It's just the American in me, but that's just the way it goes in sports. Sports are a beautiful thing, and I like it when the best players perform on the biggest stage personally.
Now, Andrew, of course, you're new. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background. We actually got connected with Andrew through the Calarco family, the brothers that play for the Boomers. And here I am on show number 1 with Andrew wearing a Y'all's hat. So I already feel like a traitor. But tell us a little bit about your background and not only where you come from, what you're looking to do in broadcasting.
Yeah, so I grew up in Northbrook, Illinois, suburb just north of the city here in Chicago. Went to Glenbrook North High School. Great broadcasting department there led by Miss Peggy Holacek. She was a fantastic teacher and both a baseball and hockey player at Glenbrook North. Went on to play college baseball, both at Oakton Community College, where I went to the Junior College World Series there. Had a great time. And assistant coach for the Boomers, actually, Bill Fratto, was my head coach at Oakton. So there's another connection to the Boomers. And then I continued my career down in Columbus, Georgia, which is the second biggest city in the state of Georgia. If you didn't know, it's right on the Georgia-Alabama border, about 30 minutes from Auburn, to give you a little bit of perspective, and played 2 years of Division II baseball down there. Currently a graduate assistant, kind of in the external affairs of the sports department, athletics department at the university. I aspiring to be a play-by-play broadcaster in numerous sports. I'm a sports junkie, as you will get to tell by the random knowledge that I'll be able to bring to the show, hopefully. But yes, I'm also working with you, getting to cover teams. I'm big in social media, interviews, post games, all the things like that. I just got done playing sports, so I kind of have that perspective, what the athletes kind of want to see, and I want to help people cover athletes the way they want to be covered, if that makes sense.
Shout out to 1990s Chicago Bulls legend Bill Frado. No, I'm kidding. It's a joke for anybody out there. It's an inside joke also with the Boomers. Shout out Brendan Green, that whole production team up there. But as you were mentioning, Columbus, Georgia. Dalton, more so a fan of the Columbus Blue Jackets, Columbus, Ohio. So I'm just surrounded by different Columbuses here. This is crazy. I am Italian, so Christopher Columbus.
What's the area code for Columbus, Georgia?
I believe it is 708 or 706.
Okay.
I'm guessing 706 since there's some 708s here in the Chicago area.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get those mixed up. I'm sorry. Yeah, like southern, south suburbs of Chicago, 708, I believe. So 706 is Columbus.
Why, Dalton? You don't like the 312?
No, I was just curious. Like the Columbus, Ohio is like 614, so I was curious on like how close they would be.
I'm just giving you crap. But let me hear your thoughts on these late comebacks. I mean, the Argentinian plan, as we kind of talked about, was well, you'll enjoy this reference because you love dodgeball. Bold strategy, Cotton. That Dalton, Argentina was letting Messi score all the goals, right? And then all of a sudden he wasn't, but they were still putting him in the back of the net. Late comebacks, we're talking past the 80th minute, just like they did in that semifinal game. And the 84th minute, and you thought this was going to go into extra time and penalties, maybe, as a lot of games have in these elimination rounds. But nope, they said game in the 92nd minute with that beautiful cross from Messi.
Yeah, and I think it's back-to-back games. They've had the go-ahead goal or the equalizing goal in the 80th minute or later, and it's like the first time in like World Cup history that a team has done that. So just again another notch in the cap. I don't know. Spain is going to be their biggest test, though. I think Spain has kind of the recipe to neutralize top players. And you saw it with France. The way they could pass the ball, the way they could just play keep away is, they're the best in the world at it, in my opinion. So, and the La Liga has been top notch for the last, 8 to 12 months. The talent they've been producing out of La Liga is obviously really good. You're seeing it right now. But no, the World Cup has been great. I mean, you talked about the knockout stage. There's been 12 knockout stage goals, which are the most of any of the knockout in World Cup history, which is crazy. Mbappe, obviously, tying the record. Then you have Messi breaking the record. The amount of we could do a whole show, I think, on the amount of records that Messi has for World Cups, whether it's appearances, goals, points. I think he's only not registered on like a goal for Argentina, I think twice in this whole World Cup.
Jeez.
I think it's like 11 out of 13 they've scored, or maybe it's like 15 out of 17. It's something like that. So, but it'd be interesting. Like I said, I think they really have their work cut out for them. I think Spain can do it. I think Spain has built the perfect way to take down Argentina.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, just like hockey, as we were just talking about, soccer can be a game of matchups, right? So, I mean, maybe Spain has what it takes to fluster or frustrate Argentina. You talked about the records. Nick and I were talking about it last week. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that the World Cup got expanded this year, but I mean, yeah, a lot more storylines. I feel like a lot more records being broken. And here's a stat for you, not necessarily a record, but Lamine Yamal is 19 years old. He wears the number 19. The World Cup final is on July 19th. He's going to play against Messi 19 years after being bathed by him. I don't know if you saw that picture. I don't know if that was a baptism or if it was just for like a photo shoot. Who, at the time, Messi was wearing number 19 back then. So, I mean, crazy that 19. I mean, somebody send Jonathan Taze a ticket to the not to the All-Star game, to the World Cup final. Maybe Steve Yzerman as well. This is getting out of hand with the 19.
Hey, he's out of a job now, so maybe he's got time. Also, it was the first time in World Cup history that we had the Final Four, like the semis, be the top 4 ranked teams in FIFA, which is awesome. So, you had number 1 Argentina, 2 is Spain, 3 is France, 4 was England. So to get that as our semifinals on American soil, I feel like was top notch. I feel like this is probably the best World Cup they've ever had.
This is the first year that of course World Cup only comes around every other year if you count the women's side as well. But this is the first time ever that the top 4 teams in the FIFA World Cup have made it. Now, that's not to say the tournament necessarily went chalk, but I mean, I guess by default, yeah, it did. But also in the same year that the Final Four went chalk. So, I mean, that's kind of interesting that we've had so many storylines in both that we covered, March Madness and the Final Four, and there was a lot of excitement around that. But yet, at the end of the tournament, we still had just the top teams left over. So it's the juggernauts that are representing. And I think even though it is the third place match, I think that today's 4 p.m. game between France and England is still going to mean something because of the fact that listen. England wants something here, right? And they lost to France many years ago?
They got nothing else.
250 years ago, was it, when France helped out the United States when we won that independence? So will France defeat England on U.S. soil once again?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I just don't think there's going to be as much care in this game as you think there is. I'm on team like they're not going to really. I'd be surprised on who plays in this game, honestly.
Andrew, do you have France or you got England? Who are you pulling for here? I mean, Mbappe's great.
I think Mbappe. I mean, France probably has like 3 of the top 10 players in the world. Yeah. Spain played a great match to beat them, but I think they're gonna care. Soccer does have traditions. That's one thing I do have respect for, and I think these countries really don't like each other when they played. I was actually listening to the radio show right before us, and they said there's a $2 million difference in the prize pool between third and fourth, so there's a little bit of money as well. I know the top guys are making a lot of money. It won't seem like a lot to them, but not everybody's making that kind of money on the teams. I really think France is going to win, and it's going to be a highly contested matchup. And England, again, like, what else do they got? They got this soccer match, and then they can't go watch the Blackhawks. They can't go watch the Cubs or the White Sox or wait for the Bears to start in the fall. Like, this is it. This is all they got. Then it's just back to nothing.
Well, Europe will be able to watch the Blackhawks. Not that I'm sure there's ways to watch them, but Europe will be able to watch the Blackhawks this next year as the schedule came out, but I don't want to jump ships just yet. We'll get to hockey in a little bit, but England, they've got Jude Bellingham, and they've got a goal that maybe should have been turned or disallowed because it hit a wire, and that's why Norway and a lot of people's new fan favorite Erling Haaland was knocked out. There were reports that they might even consider replaying the entire match, which is crazy to me. But then Erling Haaland was already back off the plane. Then they were like, this isn't getting replayed. But would you have wanted to see that match replayed?
I don't think you can replay it. Like, same thing going back to that pass interference between the Saints and the Rams, like the very obvious pass interference. Yeah. I believe the Saints tried to go to the Supreme Court to get that overturned. Unfortunately, you can't replay it. Referees are not great. We all kind of know that, but once the match is over, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a weird. Like for them to be reporting it and to go to the Supreme Court. Great comparison too, by the way. I totally forgot about that until you brought it back up. But to have to redo the entire match. I mean, I get it. In soccer, a goal is crucial, right? I mean, we talked about last week how the 28-3 Super Bowl in which Tom Brady and the Patriots came back was maybe not even as big of a comeback as that one Argentina game in which they were down 2-0. With just 10 minutes to go, right? I mean, you score not only the 2 to equalize, but then the 1 to go ahead. So
same building too.
That's right. Yeah, something about Mercedes-Benz.
About that place.
Or was it? No, was it Mercedes-Benz?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wild indeed. So today's match is the third place match. That's between France and England at 1600. Today, I believe that's still in Central Time, 4 o'clock for those of you that don't know military time. Final tomorrow between Argentina and Spain. I mean, we're privileged though. I mean, it's Mbappe versus Bellingham in France versus England, and then you have Messi versus Yamal in Argentina versus Spain. That's at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and the World Cup concludes, and then everybody stops paying attention to soccer. No, just kidding. Here in Illinois, we have some great soccer news coming up. Not only do we have the Stars that'll be back underway on the ladies' side of things up at Northwestern University, but also the Chicago Fire, who were supposed to start this past week on Thursday, but as Dalton was talking about all the Canadian wildfires smoking us out, there's a joke to be made somewhere in here that the Fire had to get their game canceled due to wildfires and too much smoke, but I don't know what it is. But it wasn't just a big game because the Fire were coming back from the FIFA World Cup break. It wasn't just a big game because Two Friends was performing a post-game concert. Shout out Big Booty Mix, right? It wasn't just... Nice. It wasn't just a big game because the Vancouver Whitecaps and Thomas Mueller was in the house. The Chicago Fire have recently acquired their own superstar as well. Robert Lewandowski is now a Chicago Fire, I guess, a Chicago Fire. Does that sound right? It's like saying he's a Chicago White Sox, right? But yeah, he is officially across the pond. He will be joining this Fire team that have already been pretty much atop the tables throughout this MLS season, and I think he just gives them the added boost to go even further. We saw playoffs last year, an early exit to Philadelphia, but the Fire sitting in third in the MLS standings behind Nashville and Inter Miami, another team Messi plays for. But with Lewandowski, do we see a possible MLS final, Dalton? Maybe in Chicago?
Possibly. I mean, when we talked earlier this season, I think it was more about meshing the back end. So we'll definitely see. I mean, I think when the playoffs would start, I mean, the goal for this team was to make a playoff spot, right? So that's kind of been, secured, I think, with this point. Is this the equivalent of the Chapman move that the Cubs made in 2016? That was kind of where I was thinking.
I like that.
Where my brain went with this when they announced it earlier. I'm like, is this like the move to get the guy? Maybe he's a little bit like, I don't want to say he's like dead in his prime, obviously. He's probably a little bit past it, but to come down to a league to where like his prime is, even at his half prime is 95% better than the league, So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't know how you felt about that comparison.
No, I like that comparison. That's another good one that you're pulling out of left field, just like Andrew's of the Saints Supreme Court argument. We're dialed in today, and yes, that is a great comparison. Like you said, he's not necessarily in his prime. If he was, he'd still be playing over in Europe, but he comes across, and we've seen how U.S. soccer goes, and we've seen how it turns into a lot of those European stars coming here to play out their last couple of years and share the wealth of skill and knowledge just to play here. I mean, I just mentioned Vancouver has Tomas Mueller, and then, of course, everybody knows Messi's playing for Miami, right? And I think that gives not only the MLS, but also American soccer a boost. And of course, it didn't help the actual national team too much this year. I think it should have helped a little bit more, maybe not living up to expectations. But this is going to lead into a very interesting second half of the season. It's going to lead into a very interesting playoffs. And then, despite an early exit last year, the Fire, I don't want to say they squeaked into the playoffs last year, but you were playing the top seed in Philadelphia, right? So you had the bottom seed. You had it comfortably, but I think everybody knew that was going to be a quick series against Philadelphia, and they did win a game. They won a match. But I think, like you were saying, fixing up the back end, and the expectation was to make a deeper playoff push, and we'll see if that's the case. And I think it was, not that I could predict the future. I think looking at this team night in and night out, or I guess week in and week out, I was expecting that already, and then to add a superstar like Lewandowski, it's huge. It's not only big for the Fire, it's big for the Chicago Polish community as well.
Well, I'm sure Hugo Kuipers is happy too.
Yeah, he's got somebody to play up there with.
Yeah, I was going to say somebody else to even. He's already been pun here. He's already been on fire this season, but then just to add somebody else that you have to worry about is only going to make his life easier too.
If I remember correctly, I think it was the last game prior to. Oh yes, because I did ask the question to Greg Berhalter in the post game. It's the first time that they won the match, and that led into a Lupe Fiasco post-game concert. So even Greg Berhalter himself was looking to get out of there and go watch the concert. He even said it to the media. But I don't blame him. It was great. But that was the first match in which the Fire superstar Hugo Kuipers did not score a goal all season long. Other than that, he is factored into every single match that they have played. And despite him not getting on the score sheet, they still won the match. So this team is going with or without him, and most of the time it's with him. So I can't wait to see that in the second half.
The show goes on, eh, Mike?
The show does go on. And, I mean, this city, I love this city, you know. I love it. I was born and raised here. That's why I got it made here. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, listen, if you would have told me
He's more of a superstar.
If you would have told me several years ago that all the pain and suffering that Chicago fans went through with the Blackhawks being terrible and getting first overall draft picks, the Chicago Bears getting first overall draft pick after first overall draft pick and being absolutely terrible as well and having to trade those. You told me the Chicago Fire not making playoffs, or the Sky choking, or the Stars choking out of a playoff spot, the White Sox setting records for worst season. And then all of a sudden, all these first-round draft picks come in, and even before they necessarily implement themselves in certain cases, all of a sudden these teams are finally doing well again. Now the Cubs too, I should add in here, because we have a Cubs fan sitting with us, Andrew Rubin. But I mean, it wasn't like they were bad. It was just they were teasing us. They were getting to that competitive mode, and then they were just kind of falling short of the playoffs. Or getting knocked out early, right?
I would agree, absolutely. I mean, for the Cubs, they should be better than they were. There's no doubt about that. It's one of the biggest markets, all the money they got going into that team, they should be fielding better teams consistently than they were around the turn of the decade, early 2020s.
So the next match for the Chicago Fire, as we jump off the soccer talk and transition into baseball, that'll be July 22nd in Miami against that Inter Miami. So, I mean, it's going to be Lewandowski versus Messi right off the bat, but that matchup against Tomas Mueller and the Vancouver Whitecaps has been pushed to Tuesday, October 6th, which is the Blackhawks home opener. We'll get into some hockey, but we got baseball to cover first. We'll be right back. Andrew Rubin, Dalton Cooper, and myself, Mike Napolitano, right here on AM 1410 River Media Network. Sports is on the rise.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. One game around Major League Baseball on Thursday. The Mets beat the Phillies by a 4-1 final. The rest of the league picks up the second half of the season today. The White Sox and Guardians are tied for the top spot in the AL Central. The Guardians begin a series at home tonight hosting the Pirates. 10-4 Gavin Williams gets the start for Cleveland. The Sox went into the break with wins in 3 in a row. The Guardians with wins in 4 straight. The White Sox begin a series at Toronto today with 6-4 Anthony Kay starting for Chicago, which agreed to contract terms with 20 of their 21 selections from the first-year player draft. The Cubs remain on the hunt, chasing Milwaukee in the NL Central. Chicago's 5 games back. They open a series at home tonight against the Twins. 7-5 Colin Ray takes the ball. The Brewers are home hosting the Marlins. Logan Henderson, the starter for Milwaukee. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
The Colonel is the king of chicken. That's why he's always had a beef with beef. But on Wednesdays, he's squashing the beef by frying it. KFC Country Fried Steak is here for only $4.99. Crispy golden outside, tender steak inside. Served with peppery gravy, mashed potatoes, coleslaw, and a biscuit. At last, the Colonel and beef buried the hatchet in gravy. Get the $4.99 Country Fried Steak Wednesdays for a limited time only at KFC.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Not available on third-party ordering platforms. Tax, tip, and fees extra.
When you see this in your kitchen,
this stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
You hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow. My fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
Elgin isn't just a city. It's a community built on connection, innovation, and opportunity. And at the heart of it all is the Elgin Chamber of Commerce. For over a century, the Elgin Chamber has helped local businesses grow, connecting entrepreneurs, advocating for progress, and inspiring the leaders of tomorrow. Whether you're a new business just starting out or an established company looking to expand, the Elgin Chamber is your partner for success. Join a powerful network of leaders making a difference in our community every day. Together, we're shaping the future of Elgin, one connection at a time. Elgin Area Chamber of Commerce, where business and community grow together. Call now, 847-741-5660, or go to info@elginchamber.com. Contact Carol Gieske.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. Starting today, an air quality alert is in effect for the listening area. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 88. A chance of showers and thunderstorms is possible. Tonight, areas of smoke with partly cloudy skies, a low around 65. Currently, it's 83 and partly cloudy. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN's On the Rise. Mike Napolitano, Dalton Cooper, and Andrew Rubin joining us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got some baseball to talk about. And when I say some baseball, I mean a lot of baseball. You know, we usually cover White Sox. We usually cover Cubs. We have a Cubs representative in the house today. We'll be covering, of course, Cougars and Boomers as always, but for all of those teams I just mentioned, it is All-Star Week. So we had a lot of home run derbies, a lot of All-Stars on both sides, whether that was independent ball or actual major leagues. And then, of course, we had, I don't know, just great festivities all around. I should mention the Schaumburg Boomers won. Frontier League was a Y'all-Star game, so that's why I'm repping this hat, and we'll get into that. But we got to go major leagues first. The White Sox, they finished up last weekend with a sweep of the A's, and it was not just on the field that the White Sox were winning. They make a trade. Unfortunately, Jacob Gonzalez goes to Pittsburgh with Brandon Eisert. We actually talked about this trade last week with Nick. In addition, or in return, I should say, the White Sox received the 34th overall pick and a pitcher. I believe James Wood was his name. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He should be up in Charlotte's bullpen right now, or maybe possibly even starting. But the White Sox did need pitching, but even more than pitching, they wanted that 34th overall pick in order to select Landon Thome, son of Jim Thome and Nazareth High School graduate. Listen, that was great, but it was an even better day that the White Sox, I talked about teams being so bad that they've earned themselves first overall picks. The White Sox are already playing good baseball, and this man has not even suited up yet. Roch Chalowski, it is official. He is the first overall pick. The White Sox selecting the shortstop. Another reason kind of why Jacob Gonzalez leaves. He's a middle infielder. You don't really have the room for him. You don't even really have the room for Chalowski right now with Golson Montgomery and Chase Mydroth. So moves will be made in the future. Just prepare yourselves. It's tough to see any of these guys go with how great they're playing right now, but you're going to eventually have to give this position to Chalowski. Dalton, real quick, I want to get your thoughts on the White Sox draft moves. And then also, I mean, just the fact that they're continuing on this roll right after the All-Star break.
Well, we got to talk about how some people can say Chalowski and some people call it Chalewski. That's tough. You have one job.
Yeah.
Manfred. Anyway.
Had all year to prepare for it, too.
Yeah, right.
I know, right? Like I said, you had one job. It's crazy. I don't understand the trade. Then the biggest thing, I don't understand the principle of the fact that They've been stocked. Obviously, the farm system is stocked. They've continued. I think they've brought up the most like major league debuts before an All-Star, a weekend for a team in MLB history or something like that. Something absurd, right? So the farm system's obviously doing well. This team is ready to kind of win right now. Like you're figuring out if they can win right now. So to make a trade for a guy that obviously you said the infield was crowded, but he's also a good insurance policy if Mune is hurt, or if you want to give Mune a couple days off. There's not really a guy that can play first base right now. You really don't want Teal playing first base. You don't want him catching or DHing. And then, even on the off days that you want Mune to DH, you can have, Gonzalez play first. So that's the only thing I don't understand is why you would trade an MLB ready guy now for a guy that's going to help you, best case 3 years, 2 years maybe. So that was just kind of the principle, or it seems like a contradicting ideology behind the trade, and that's just where I'm kind of at with it. Like Chris Getz has obviously earned the benefit of the doubt with how well he's done with all these acquisitions. I mean, everybody laughed at him when he traded for Miguel Vargas, and fast forward a year and a half, and he's laughing at everybody else like, "Oh yeah, no, you guys, I didn't get fleeced, they got fleeced," So we'll see. But that was other than that, obviously, I think it was a great draft. I mean, to get Cholowski or whoever they were going to take at one was going to be a slam dunk. It really didn't matter. I mean, you're in a win-win situation if you're the White Sox.
There were a couple other names, and Nick and I talked about that last week. But real quick, going to your Vargas point, I just want to shout the man out. I mean, 2 years ago, he gets traded from the eventual World Series champions. They go on to win back-to-back World Series in LA, and this man is traded to a White Sox team that has 121 losses, and it looks doom and gloom. And he's said multiple times that he lost the love for playing baseball. Baseball wasn't fun for him at that time, and he was trying to find his spark for the game, and not only has he found it with this young core here, he's done well for himself. It's not just the other guys boosting him up. I think it's his own talents, and that's why you see him get sent to the All-Star game as a no-doubter. That was the first White Sox to be named. But to that point of this being a young core, White Sox fans back in 2020 and 2021 will remember that the organization was in that same win-now mode. And I did ask Mike Shirley, director of amateur scouting. We got a chance to speak with him last Saturday after the game. That the mentality behind the draft and where this organization as a whole, not just the White Sox, but the whole farm system is heading. And I like that they've pivoted from okay, this team is ready. We got to win now, and we got to put everybody on the field right now and have the depth at the MLB level right now. Because you look at maybe like a trade like Nick Madrigal. Yes, he was out for the whole season and he wasn't going to be coming back, but the White Sox said, all right, in 2020, we need pitching. So let's get Craig Kimbrell in here. And it looked good on paper, right? But ultimately that didn't work out. And there were a couple other moves that were questionable at the deadline that didn't really get you to where you needed to be. You weren't ready to be a World Series contender. Sure, you were maybe making the playoffs, and as it was, the White Sox barely squeaked in a COVID-shortened season. But then it was like, all right, well, then 2021, we're going to build and go on a deeper run. Well, then you run into a red-hot Astros team that had been dominating the AL West, for years and years, and you're just not, you don't have that playoff experience to be able to contend and compete with them. And I think everybody knew that the White Sox weren't going to get past the Astros that year. But then, okay, 2022, we should take those next step forwards here as the White Sox, and it should be a deeper playoff run. And instead they go 81-81 and take a huge step back. And then, of course, I won't rehash the terrible history of recent years, but I like the idea that look at what happened when Mune was out. You were fine. In fact, you took the division lead when Mune was out with injury. You had Miguel Vargas playing first. He can do it. You also have guys in the prospect system that can play first, whether that be, I believe it's Tim Elko's still down there, right? Am I crazy that he hasn't been traded?
I don't think so. I believe it's Ryan Galaney that plays first in AAA. It's having a very, very nice year for himself. And I don't know if they still have Lamont Wade. I know we just got to the point to where a lot of veterans, former MLB players get released right around this time of the draft because teams have roster limits. But Lamont Wade has lots of experience playing first base at the major league level as well.
But two things that Shirley went on about. The first was that they were joking that they had taken a shortstop in that first round. They took a third baseman, a shortstop, and a second baseman. Chalowski's the shortstop. I forget where Landon Tomey's playing. Is he at third?
He's a shortstop too.
He's a shortstop out of high school, but doesn't really project as a shortstop.
Okay,
More of a second base.
So middle infielders. There you go. And then I'm drawing a blank. Protek is the one that they drafted, I believe, is a third baseman. But then also they picked up some pitching as well. But people were joking that, all right, well, you've picked up all the rest of your infield. Are you going to select a first baseman now? And then, then they weren't necessarily going to select a first baseman. That wasn't the plan. But the other big thing that Shirley talked about, Mike Shirley, was stretching the lineup. And you've seen it already with guys like Riku Nishida and Sam Antonacci. We got to get into him because he had a monster game last night. The Italian power is back and ready to go for the second half. But these guys are naturally infielders. In both of those cases, naturally second baseman, and they're playing outfield. So if you can keep their bat in the lineup, but have them play another position well at the MLB level, I think this roster is going to be okay. And you talk about having a hole maybe at first base. I really don't think you do, though. I mean, Jacob Gonzalez was playing first base, like you said, when Mune was injured, and you don't really have anybody else. But he was more projected, even in the minors, to be that middle infielder, and you just don't have the room for him on that roster. So, yeah, I don't think Teal's your guy. You do have a couple other options of guys that can step in there, sure. But by the time you maybe need him, can Landon Tomey step in and be a first baseman? His dad played a little bit of first base, right, other than DHing. So I think you have what you need, or you draft what you need, or you can go out and get what you need. But I like the fact that you're bolstering the farm system to not just have that flash-in-the-pan success. You're building out a couple of years, right? And Landon Tomey, will be there in a couple of years when you need to call upon him. So I don't hate the trade sucks. Jacob Gonzalez is a friend of some of our Boomers friends, but I don't hate getting that 34th overall pick and having Tomey in the pinstripes on the south side once again. But Andrew had a hot take about the White Sox, and I want to get to his hot take here. Let me hear what your thoughts were.
White Sox fans are really not going to like this. I was Chris Getz right now, I would see what I could get for Colson Montgomery.
No.
Munetaka Murakami.
No.
Oh, shoot. Who was my last one? Oh, and Davis Martin. I would look to trade those three guys, and I would see what type of an ace-level pitcher. I'm not trying to trade them for prospects. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to see what ace-level pitcher they can have, because until the White Sox have an ace, I'm sorry, they are not winning anything. They can win a division winning 84 games, and you can hang a banner for that if you want, but does that really move the needle for you as a White Sox fan? Those three guys, their value's never going to be higher than it is right now, and you got Rock Chalowski to play shortstop. You got Caleb Bomer to play shortstop. I don't think you need Colson Montgomery, and I don't know how his projections go. He's very home run dependent. If you think he can be a 40 home run guy every year for the rest of his career as a shortstop, yeah. He's incredibly valuable. I don't know if that's going to be possible for him.
Wow. You don't think that Davis Martin is kind of your ace right now? I mean,
if Davis Martin's starting game one of the postseason for me, I have absolutely no confidence. I'm winning game one against a Zach Wheeler, against a Paul Skeens, against a Tarek Skubal. I mean, you could go on and on. Against a Shohei Ohtani, against a Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I'm throwing Davis Martin up there against those guys. I got no chance.
What's those guys in the National League?
Yeah, I was like, wait, we won't have to see half of those guys.
Max Fried, Cam Schlitter. I mean, you can like I said, Skubal, any of the Mariners' 6 guys in their rotation, I'm probably taking above Davis Martin, if I'm being honest.
Do you think it's a little bit of just a guy like that hasn't made a name for himself and established himself, or you think it's more of just like a one-hit wonder type of season for a guy like that?
I mean, look at the stuff too. I mean, it's good stuff. It's not overpowering ace line stuff. It's topping out at 97 with a good breaking ball, and he hits his spots pretty well. But I'm sorry, that's not. Again, like if I could get Logan Webb for him, I'm doing it in an absolute heartbeat.
But I don't like having to give up all of that for a pitching prospect who is sure he's established and he's a veteran and he's made a name for himself in the league. But how many more years does he have? Not to say Logan Webb's retiring anytime soon, but I mean if you're even Tarek Skubal, I'm not saying he's on his back nine by any means, but you're trading a lot of pieces in that And of course, that was a hypothetical. You don't have to give up all of that necessarily for a guy like that. But I mean, you're talking a Cy Young candidate, and I don't know. That's a big return. I do see, as much as I don't want to see him go. I just talked about middle infielders maybe leaving for the Sox team. If he doesn't produce consistently, because he's been great when he's on, and people are like, why isn't this guy an all-star? But he's had his slumps, his Colson Montgomery, and don't get me wrong, he's posting numbers that I mean, he's leading. I'm trying to remember the exact stat. It was last year during the second half. Through his first 50 MLB games, he had more home runs than Aaron Judge did through his first 50, right? So, and I'm not saying he's Aaron Judge caliber power home run. When he's on, though, he's on, like I said. But he's continued that this season, but the slumps have been noticeable. So I think if you're looking at technically like the odd man out in this White Sox infield, and you're looking to get a high value player for a high value player in a trade, it probably is Colson. As much as I don't want to see him go, in my head on paper, I was thinking maybe Chase Mydroth was the unexpected. He wasn't the farm system guy. You acquired him in a trade, so maybe he's the odd man out when you do have to bring somebody like a Chalowski up. Trust me, I had plenty of time to learn the name.
Right now.
Yeah,
Vargas is going to shift to first. Mooney will be your DH, and then that leaves you a hole on the left side of the infield.
True.
Colson goes over to third. Chalowski plays short. Everybody's happy.
Right, yeah, and I could see that happening. And then, of course, that's if Mooney stays in Chicago, and we could touch upon that if we have time. I think it's probably the case, but I've heard other stories, other varying things. But I don't know. I don't like selling all that. And I know you and I had talked about, Andrew, about Mooney being traded. And I think a lot of people outside of the White Sox have been saying, oh, yeah, trade Mooney so that you can get something for him now. But
we just don't know. That's the hard part too. To Andrew's, two things can be true here. Like Andrew can be kind of right in his hot take of like trading these guys in value. Davis Martin's value is probably probably never going to be higher. The problem is that they're so far ahead of schedule and the expectation was so low.
Yes.
That the fact that they've gotten here, and it's like, okay, well, if we give it another year and we keep these pieces, and we obviously, what are our other pieces going to be, like the other crops, if you will, that they've already planted. Like, is it Jackson or is that the Cubs farm system that I'm thinking of? But they've got other pitchers in the farm system. Noah Schultz is still, he's probably one or two bad outings away from going back to the minors. But again, just getting that experience, another year under his belt, you never know what you have in that kind of regard too.
Well, and Noah Schultz, young, coming off of that injury. Hopefully he figures it out because, a 6'10", 240 left-hander could end up being, like they've compared him to the next Randy Johnson, right? But he could be a solid pitcher for this team. So even though I'm not seeing, like Andrew was saying, an ace on this team, I do see the potential for these guys. And this goes back to the not rushing things right now. Like, I don't know how you can be sellers when you're leading the AL Central. I can see it for the long term. So I sound like I'm contradicting myself here, but I also don't like making those moves. Like I'd rather be buyers, but have the future in mind, right? Like don't give up a whole lot, right? And get like even Andrew said, don't get prospects, get guys that are ready to be here. But I don't know. The pitching would need to get bolstered if you're going to make a deeper playoff run. But that was another thing Mike Shirley was talking about, is that these are good problems to have, guys. The White Sox being ahead of schedule, he even said, yes, of course, it wasn't in the cards, and they weren't expecting them to be this good this early, but the plan doesn't change, basically. The outlook on not only your amateur drafting, but your scouting and how you look to change this team at the trade deadline is all pretty much the same, I guess, in their regards, in their eyes. So we'll see. I'm just kind of excited and enjoying the ride that they're in first place right now, right? You can't really. It's tough to have these conversations when this team is sitting atop the AL Central and could make it a somewhat deep playoff run, even with the lack of playoff experience.
White Sox fans should be ecstatic. Especially like you compare it to what they've been through. You got to be happy with Chris Getz. There's no other option right now. You talked about how he fleeced the Rays for Tristan Peters. What a trade that was. My goodness. But I'm all in on the White Sox train with the Giants. I think they should try to get Logan Webb. I think they should try to get Rafael Devers with the Giants holding on to some money there, because that's a guy that I would much rather have as my DH first baseman than Munetaka Murakami, with all due respect. I think he's a much more proven hitter that I'd rather have in the lineup. I think the White Sox, because the Giants are going to want some young, controllable guys, MLB talent. Again, you don't want to take on all of that contract. The Giants have to be paying a hefty portion, but those are two guys I would want if I was the White Sox.
You can have the emotional turmoil and whatever human being that is Rafael Devers. I would much rather take Mune. I feel like a clubhouse perspective. I feel like Mune is so far and beyond Rafael Devers. That would be a horrible league.
Yeah, I don't want to bring any toxicity back into a White Sox clubhouse. We already saw how that went a couple years ago. But I've heard Reed Detmers as well. Could you see that being a fit with the White Sox? Is that still maybe on the table?
So I know his stats aren't as good. He's from Illinois, by the way, if you guys did not know that. Went to Louisville after graduating from inside of the state of Illinois here. But I don't think he moves the needle either. He's not an ace. He's not. His advanced stats are much better than his current stats. The stuff is good. He's game one, Reed Detmers. I'm sorry. That you're not winning anything. You're not.
I think
is he good to have as your two? Maybe.
I think I've played with his cousin in Westchester. There was another Detmers, and it's not the most common of names. And for them to both be from Illinois, I got to do some digging on that family tree, but I'm almost certain. As to the Mune thing, I've heard from Scott Merkin of MLB.com, writer for The Athletic as well, that Mune is not going to take 98 cents on the dollar to stay here in Chicago. So if they're going to keep Munetaka Murakami... But right, and that was what I was getting to, is the comments that you heard him make on Pat McAfee, other than that his favorite song is Strokin'. Now, shout out to Derek Showman, friend of the show. I think he's been a big contributor as to why that has become such a tune. We'll have to ask him about that when he comes on next, and hopefully keep it FCC regulated. But it was on Pat McAfee, despite Pat McAfee saying, "Yeah, I like Strokin'," the song, right? Mune also said that he loves Chicago, right? And we heard it all throughout this All-Star break that he wants to be here. So I think he and his agent are going to sit down and hopefully make this happen, because you look at next year and the potential MLB work stoppage, and you think, okay, well, that's year 2 of Munetaka Murakami's 2-year contract. So either that 2027 year doesn't count, and then they get paid in 2028 if you can rework a clause like that, or that's it. You get 1 year of him, you pay him for 2, and he's out the door, right? So you either have to fork up the cash or make him really want to be here. And he's said verbatim, coming to the White Sox has been the best decision of his career, of his life. It's the most fun he's having playing baseball, which has been reiterated, like we said, by Miguel Vargas and a bunch of other guys in this locker room. It's the most fun they've had playing baseball, and I think a lot of it has to do with Will Venable. Munetaka Murakami talked about how much he loves him. But, man, I mean, this is something to watch. Even as a White Sox fan, I still don't believe it. My jaw is still kind of on the floor, like, how did they get this good this quickly?
Like I said, the expectation. That's why it's it's hard to agree with Andrew. They need to sell off. That's the only thing I would say is, like, the expectation. Like, they had no idea where this was going. They're already here. Why would you Why is now the time to sell? I feel like they could keep going. I don't know.
Frickin' Northsider over here. He's trying to burn us down. I see what it is. That's insider trading. He's coming over from the north side going, well, if you just made this move, you can be like the 2016 world champion Chicago Cubs. How'd that work out for you 10 years later? You're still...
They made lots of questionable moves, the 2016. I know everybody loves Theo Epstein and the Cubs, and I do too, because he did end the curse, but the trade for Jose Quintana, that was not obviously a good move in the end. I mean, so many different things that they did.
I would have taken him back.
Is Alex Bregman the worst signing in Chicago sports history?
Not even close. He's not. He's a better signing than Benintendi. Alex Bregman's already worth like 2.5 WAR this year.
Yeah, Benintendi at first.
They paid Bregman. Bregman is paid like what, $35 million a year.
Yeah,
$35 million, which part of it is deferred. By the way, the going rate 1 WAR is worth about $7 to $8 million in a contract. He's worth 2.5, and he hasn't hit to his ability. I don't think it's crazy that he ends with above a 5 WAR season, which puts him right in there. 5 WAR, $7 million per year.
It's hard to compare North Side and South Side because one side doesn't spend money and the other side doesn't spend money. No, I'm just kidding. But
so he's going to double his WAR is what you're saying, because right now he's at 2.2.
And he's hit how much? About 30 points in OPS plus below his career average.
Yeah, he's hitting 239 currently. On base 336, slugging 357. OPS is 692. So
what if he gets hot for a 3-week stretch? He's going to be worth 3.3 WAR in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't.
You have to get PCA hot though. That's how hot he'd have to get.
Dansby Swanson
PCA's
hot.
Been all right. PCA's been all right since that slump. He's actually doing pretty well right now. And then of course the All-Star nomination for the Cubs. But real quick, going back to your comparison of what's maybe the worst signing in Chicago sports. In Chicago baseball, I think it's still Yasmani Grandal. You had maybe 1 or 2 good years out of him. Benintendi, I get it for the longevity. It didn't look good at first, but then
he's been solid.
Yeah,
he's been very solid.
He's been good this year. That's another guy that can maybe slot into that first base spot or a DH spot.
Jason Hayward, by the way, though.
Sometimes I forget he was there. Jason Hayward. Yeah. So I think far from the worst move or the worst contract in Chicago sports history, but there's a lot more money there, right? The White Sox didn't actually spend a whole lot of money on Benintendi or Yasmani Grandal compared to their own standards, compared to MLB standards, compared to their own standards, highest 2 played players in White Sox history. But can Mooney be the next? And then that would be a good signing. Listen, gentlemen, we have so much more baseball to cover. We got to get into 3 different All-Star games real quickly when we return. We've also got some hockey and basketball offseason news right here on AM 1410's On the Rise.
Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
America's First Responders Fest began as a simple idea to honor the heroes who serve our community every day. Thanks to the incredible support of the Village of Hampshire, especially Village President Mike Reed, Village Manager Jay Hedges, and Karen Stuhler. This year, that idea came to life. From local residents to small businesses, Hampshire opened its heart to America's First Responders Fest. The support was overwhelming. A true celebration of unity, gratitude, and community pride.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410. Elgin time, 11 o'clock.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. The White Sox and Guardians are tied for the top spot in the AL Central. The Guardians begin a series at home tonight hosting the Pirates. 10-4 Gavin Williams gets the start for Cleveland. The Sox went into the break with wins in 3 in a row. The Guardians with wins in 4 straight. The White Sox begin a series at Toronto today with 6-4 Anthony Kay starting for Chicago, which agreed to contract terms with 20 of their 21 selections from the first-year player draft. The Cubs remain on the hunt, chasing Milwaukee in the NL Central. Chicago's 5 games back. They open a series at home tonight against the Twins. 7-5. Colin Ray takes the ball. The Brewers are home hosting the Marlins. Logan Henderson, the starter for Milwaukee. The Blackhawks are moving the start time for most weeknight games to 7 p.m. instead of the traditional 7:30 next season. All weekend and holiday games will start no later than 6 p.m. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When you see this in your kitchen,
The stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. The White Sox and Guardians are tied for the top spot in the AL Central. The Guardians begin a series at home tonight hosting the Pirates. 10-4 Gavin Williams gets the start for Cleveland. The Sox went into the break with wins in 3 in a row. The Guardians with wins in 4 straight. The White Sox begin a series at Toronto today with 6-4 Anthony Kay starting for Chicago, which agreed to contract terms with 20 of their 21 selections from the first-year player draft. The Cubs remain on the hunt, chasing Milwaukee in the NL Central. Chicago's 5 games back. They open a series at home tonight against the Twins. 7-5 Colin Ray takes the ball. The Brewers are home hosting the Marlins. Logan Henderson, the starter for Milwaukee. The Blackhawks are moving the start time for most weeknight games to 7 p.m. instead of the traditional 7:30 next season. All weekend and holiday games will start no later than 6 p.m. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When you see this in your kitchen,
The stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. Starting today, an air quality alert is in effect for the listening area. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 88. A chance of showers and thunderstorms is possible. Tonight, areas of smoke with partly cloudy skies, a low around 65. Currently, it's 83 and partly cloudy. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Real estate, be it residential or commercial, is often a person's most significant and priciest asset. Entering into a contract to buy or sell a real estate property is much more than just filling in the missing blanks on the printed contract. It's wise to hire a lawyer to prepare or review the offer to purchase real estate and take full advantage of his legal expertise. With Mark Sheblo, you will gain an attorney with over 26 years of legal practice and one who has helped thousands of clients to buy or sell their homes or investment property. We will safeguard your interests and might be able to even negotiate a better bargain than a client without proper legal counsel ever could. Oftentimes, a prospective buyer will submit an offer without first consulting an attorney, not realizing that once the offer is accepted by the seller, it becomes a binding contract. And the terms of that contract are not easy to be changed afterwards. Likewise, as a seller, you too will benefit from first consulting an attorney before signing. Feel free to call us for consultation at the law offices of Mark Sheblo at 773-775-5050. Our website is sheblolawoffice.com. Mark Sheblo can be reached 6 days a week at 773-775.
It's time to wake up.
Yes!
And lock in to On the Rise.
Yes!
With host Mike Napolitano.
Cub fans have every right to be disappointed if this Cubs team continues on the trajectory that they're on and they miss the playoffs or, at best, get a wild card spot. You are cooked at that point.
Mamma mia! Dalton Cooper.
Like, I would look out for my friends and be like, hey, you know, if you're ranking a little bit, I'm gonna let you know. I feel like that's a good friend. I'd be like, hey, did you smell yourself, or did you maybe did you fart? But something doesn't smell right.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! And Nick Johnston.
For the most part, to be fair, I don't want to completely, justify a sweep, but the Royals are red hot right now. Vinny Pasquantino might be Ted Williams reincarnated. I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
On WRMN 1410 AM, the voice of the Valley.
Welcome back in AM 1410 WRMN as you hear Nick Johnston's old take there. I don't know if we have Dalton Cooper back on. He doesn't have his camera here, so let me turn that. Oh, there he is. There's the man. We're jumping back into more baseball. Not as old of a take as Vinny Pasquantino being Ted Williams reincarnated, because I don't know if Royals fans would agree right now with them sitting towards the bottom of the standings. However, they did have a gentleman representing in the All-Star game. That was Jack Caglione. I think was it just him? Royals had
Bobby Witt, I believe, too.
Oh yeah, duh, Bobby Witt, of course. But he did not win. Jack Caglione did not win the home run derby. And it was none of the guys that, I don't know if you noticed my interview with Jose Canseco. He said he thinks Ohtani was going to win the home run derby. Ohtani not in the home run derby. And he said, well, if Ohtani doesn't have it, it's going to be Judge or Soto. Judge and Soto not in the home run derby either, which is surprising that Judge wasn't, right? But
Judge is also hurt.
Yeah, injury. So, I mean, I could see, that he's a big home run hitter. I guess Jose's just busy with men's league softball and on a White Sox alumni home run derby. That was what was last Saturday. If you want to see the coverage we had of that, go check out our Instagram, Facebook. I don't think it's on TikTok because I don't know if I sent it to Dalton. That's on me. I'm slacking. But plenty of content. Larry Garcia winning it. And Gordon Beckham, the runner-up. We also spoke to Scott Podsednik, who's going to be at the Cougars on August 6th if you want to go meet 2005 World Series champion left fielder Scotty Pods. But we got to get into some of these all-star games. I mentioned a little bit from the White Sox. They had 3 representatives. We also spoke to Tristan Peters on Saturday. He got in as a late pick. Former banana baller. I know he kind of hates that, but it's true. He played a month with them, and they were still playing meaningful baseball, as he'll tell you. But then, of course, the day before that, Munetaka Murakami coming back off an injury and also getting named to the All-Star game. He competed in the home run derby. Had a pretty good showing, 9 home runs in that first round. That projected him into the second round, or propelled him into that second round, and he didn't really make it on from there. But Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals getting the victory in the home run derby. Your other all-star for the White Sox, he had a home run himself. In fact, it was the only extra base hit of the all-star game. Miguel Vargas helping the American League knock off the National League in what was maybe one of the most boring all-star games ever. Now, I was out in Florence for another all-star game and home run derby at the time, so I didn't actually get a chance to watch it on Tuesday night, but I wasn't really getting a whole lot of score alerts because there wasn't a whole lot of scoring going on. Andrew, did you check this one out?
I did, and it's the old saying, good pitching beats good hitting. I mean, Shout out Miguel Vargas. That ball was absolutely clobbered. And then they got to Christopher Sanchez in the first inning, which I feel like in the All-Star game, that's probably the best time, is try to get the guy right at the beginning. Yeah. Maybe he's not ready. But other than that, I mean, you're just facing gas with nasty off-speed pitches, which is never any fun, no matter how good of a hitter you are.
Especially for the National League. Are we surprised that the American League got the victory in this, considering, I mean, I get that these are individuals that are all-stars coming together and it may not be representative of their teams, but there's not a whole lot of teams in the AL that are above 500. So for the AL to go out and win the all-star game, that's nuts.
No, it's the Milwaukee Brewers thing. Milwaukee Brewers don't win anything. Look at the all-star game. The American League always lost when the Milwaukee Brewers was in the American League. They transitioned over to the National League, and the American League has dominated. Since then, by the way, did I mention Milwaukee Brewers? No World Series in their history either, so I think they're just the curse.
Spoken like a true Cubs fan over here. There's a lot of people talking that if the White Sox do go on some miraculous run, that we could have a Milwaukee versus Chicago World Series, and the commute and the coverage from WRMN would be off the charts. I'm partly praying for that, but also knowing that that curse might be ending if the White Sox were to prematurely make a World Series against a tough Milwaukee Brewers team that has some playoff experience like that. Dalton, what were your thoughts on the All-Star Game festivities this week? And did you like that they went back to just wearing their regular jerseys rather than All-Star branded jerseys?
No, I'd much rather see them wear branded jerseys. The home run derby was the best part of the whole week.
Yeah,
that swing off, that for Jordan to hit 4 in a row, that was electric. That was Monday night, I believe. But I didn't catch too much of the All-Star game. I saw some of it and then kind of turned it off because I agree with you. There wasn't a lot going on. But like I said, the other thing that I thought it was weird about the home run derby is I'm so used to having so many like children in the outfield, and I feel like there was not any kids in the outfield like shagging balls anymore. Did they get rid of that? Is there like no more experience for the kids?
I think Pete Alonso put an end to that when he
Did he drill a kid?
He drilled a kid. There's a very famous video of like them like stretching the kid off, and it says Pete Alonso just like dancing to the music, like just vibing.
Didn't realize. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, there were still kids in the outfield for the Frontier League All-Star game, and I keep saying we're going to get to that, but we got to continue with the MLB Home Run Derby because another point with Jordan Walker winning that in the swing off, it was against Kyle Schwarber, who was the representing for the home side. It was in Philadelphia, so Philadelphia Philly, former Cub. Big hitter. It's impressive that Jordan Walker was able to knock him off. And I believe he knocked off Junior Caminero on the way there, too. And he has a pretty big bat as well. Did he go up against Wilson Contreras in the first round, too?
I believe Contreras got eliminated by Schwarber.
Oh, yeah, you're
like that. It was like they just did like 8 guys hit.
Yeah.
How many home runs they took?
Dalton's
Top 4.
Oh, that's right. Top 4. Yeah. And Munetaka Murakami was in that top 4. He had 9 home runs, I believe it was. This is saying he had 7. I was pretty sure I saw MLB app said he had 9. We were at the Tommy Lasorda Open. I have some content coming, and when I say some content, I have about 15 interviews coming out. We got the Laura Lasorda interview out there, but it was so funny because it was Jerry Royster, if anybody remembers the name, got a chance to speak with him. He was the only other baseball representative, true baseball representative there with Laura Lasorda, and they were inside after the dinner, away from everybody else, just watching the home run derby, so that the baseball fans were dialed in. And Munetaka Murakami represented well, didn't quite make it, but then the top 4: Jordan Walker, Junior Caminero, Kyle Schwarber, and Wilson Contreras. Jordan Walker knocks off Junior Caminero, and then Schwarber knocked off Contreras. And then that swing off 12 home runs it took to defeat Kyle Schwarber. But I mean, hey, in America's 250th anniversary, probably the best thing to do it in Philadelphia. That used to be a capital of the United States at one point. Somebody tell a certain New York mayor, as an Italian, kind of mad at him for leaving off Little Italy. But not to get political, I'm just making a joke. But I mean, it was very patriotic. I liked it. I do agree with you, Dalton. Like, I want to see them go back to like All-Star Game branded jerseys because they're already wearing their jerseys in the home run derby. So you kind of get the best of both worlds there. I don't know how you guys felt about the hats. Did you like the hats, Andrew? They were kind of subtle. I didn't really.
I'm not big into the All-Star uniforms. It's kind of whatever. It's just a money grab for the Major League Baseball. You know, it's
true.
Jason Kipnis graduated from my high school, and he built a facility for our baseball team, and his All-Star Game jerseys are in there, and it's very cool to look at. So from that perspective, I guess I should be a fan of the All-Star Game hats and jerseys.
It's lost its touch a little bit because it doesn't mean anything, which I do also agree with the fact that, like, you know, a bunch of All-Stars from a bunch of different teams shouldn't determine whether your individual organization, franchise, team, whatever you want to call it, gets home field advantage in the World Series, right? Like, it should come down to just, you know, your play as a team throughout the year. But I don't know. How do you get it to mean something? Maybe do the NHL route and get them to wear their country's colors, right? I mean, when you see a 4 nations face off and they're fighting each other off the first whistle, right? Like, I mean, that guys, it's supposed to be an All-Star game, and then they're just throwing haymakers, right? So maybe the MLB has to do that. If that's the case, I mean, put Tim Anderson in there against Jose Ramirez, and you'll get some haymakers, at least from one side. But you know, that should be interesting. Yeah, All-Star Game, MLB side. Any last, you know, little tidbits? It was fun. Kind of a pause of the season.
Can't let Cardinals in the All-Star Game after what Riley O'Brien did to Junior Caminero. Also reminiscence of Shane Smith as well.
Yeah, how do you hit somebody in an All-Star Game? That's tough. Shouldn't have been nominated. Bring back the MLB. Well, the fan vote was also off. I think Nick and I were talking about it last week, that it was basically it was Dodgers and Blue Jays fans voting in. So I think the MLB stepped in a little bit when it came time to get those last men in and change it up a little bit. But as far as last men in, you don't really need that for the independent ball leagues. As far as the Cougars go, they sent 9 representatives. We were talking about this last week, but I had said 5. Cougars ended up having 9 representatives for the American Association All-Star game that was out in Lincoln, Nebraska, where the Salt Dogs play. It was a great game for former friend, or current friend, former guest of the show, Claudio Final. He hit a 2-run shot during the actual game. Jax Groshans, though, of the Chicago Dogs, coming up big, and I believe he won the home run derby. So that's something for Dogs fans to look up to, but they're not really having a great season right now. And we will get Nick back on to recap that. But the All-Star game, there were 2 All-Star games. I'm sure there were way more, but there were 2 main All-Star games, American Association and MLB. But there was only one All-Star game, and that was in Florence, Kentucky. I threw out a bunch of the content that we got from there. I had so much B-roll, it became C-roll. I mean, we got a chance to cover pretty much everything. So big thank you to both the commissioner and deputy commissioner, Steve Tassler and Matt Shepardson, respectively. Shep messaged me yesterday. He goes, "You trying to get me fired?" Because some of the questions I asked. So go back and watch the 2 interviews that I had with, it's one interview that got split up with those 2 gentlemen. But it was nice to get a chance to check in halfway through the season with the commissioners. A lot of big news coming out of that league. They're rebranding from the Frontier League to a former MILB name, the National Association. So if you catch what I was just talking about, in the Chicagoland area, your 2 independent ball leagues are going to be the American Association, the AA, and the National Association, the NA. So could we possibly see some more collaboration between the 2? It's doable. It's possible. We'll have to see. But I asked that question to the commissioners, so go ahead and go check that out. We also talked to Josh Schaub about that a little while ago. But Florence Y'all's put on a great show. Got a chance to check in with Toby Hall, former White Sox, former Tampa Bay Ray, Hall of Very Good catcher for the Tampa Bay Rays, and also former Windy City Thunderbolts manager, alongside our friend, guest of the show, Kevin Santiago, and the late, great Bobby Jenks, 2005 World Series hurler, closer. The big boy, Big Bobby. Great times, though. I'll digress because I know I'm talking about me drinking the Kool-Aid out in Florence, but it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it for All-Star games. We get back to the actual regular season. I should mention who the Boomers even sent. The Boomers sent the Dells, Caleb Rydell and Buddy Pindell. Both of those guys were received in the same trade from the Windy City Thunderbolts to the Boomers, just at different times. It was player to be named later, and then boom, next thing you know, you got both guys. Torrin Montgomery, though, home run derby champion. So once again, the Quebec Capitals winning something. Can that stop? Can we be done? Jeez, Canada. We're going to have to send our own wildfires up there.
They're burning it down.
Yeah. No pun intended.
Canada's got to have something, though. Give them at least something.
I guess. We'll give
time to play. We didn't start the fire.
Yeah, somebody should have been on that. Jeez, even the Fall Out Boy version of it. I guess nobody puts baby in the corner. That's a deep cut, Fall Out Boy, by the way. But I guess Sugar, we're going down on that one. Back to that was rough. I had to think on the fly. Fall Out Boy, one of my favorite bands, though. I should have known some other song titles, but they're so long.
Memories, so.
See, he's even showing me up at my own favorite band. I should have had those. So many long song title names for Fall Out Boy, but I did see them at Wrigley, which is where supposedly the 2027 All-Star game is going to happen for the MLB, unless we have a lockout. I don't know.
I think lockout's very likely.
Yeah. Looks like we'll be watching Indie Ball all year, which I'm not complaining about, and it looks like we'll be watching Banana Ball all year long. In fact, Banana Ball coming to Wrigley next weekend. We will be there in attendance. I know Andrew's not a big fan of Banana Ball, but he knows, DR Meadows.
Yeah, DR Meadows was at Columbus State, where I played baseball at right before me. So center fielder for the Savannah Bananas, pretty much a major celebrity at this point. Graduated, played on the same baseball program I did. Crazy enough, huh?
I know a center fielder that used to play for the Savannah Bananas. He's a pretty good guy. He's an all-star. No, DR Meadows, an all-star in his own right, because that man, I've seen some pretty cool tricks from him. I mean, he's one of the best for the Bananas. If you're invested in it at all, I think you know more than just the big names of Coach Rack and Jackson Olsen. I think and Jesse Cole himself, but I think you know some of the deeper cut names like DR Meadows and Ryan Cox. And also there's the other one that the ladies always swoon over, which is not Marshall Schill, although he's friend of the show and a good-looking dude as well in the Firefighters. But there's another Olsen. No, another Jackson. It's KJ Jackson. That's who it is. Yeah, I was drawing a blank. Sorry, KJ. But they'll be here next weekend. For this weekend, the Chicago Snowballs will be at Ozinga Field where the Thunderbolts play, where you and I just were last week. And they'll be traveling throughout the Chicagoland throughout July and August into September. So if you can't get out to the Bananas, get out to the Snowballs. Very similar style show as far as excitement, fan interaction, and they're making a name for their own selves here in the Chicagoland area. We may be talking to some Snowballs later on this year. I actually should have booked one for today, but we had so much to catch up on, so much to talk about. So we'll jump back into that. We've got, what time is it? We've got about 7 minutes before we head to our final break of the show, and then we have one last segment at 11:30 to noon. So I don't want to dive too deeply into hockey with two hockey heads here with me. I think we have a lot to talk about with the Blackhawks. But that's not to say we know any less about our Chicago Bulls, and they had a big draft week as well, dating back to when the NHL had their draft. Caleb Wilson, another Caleb, and boy, has he been lighting it up in Summer League. Andrew, have you watched any of Summer League? I don't tune into most Summer League, but this is actually kind of getting me intrigued.
I have. I actually watched his debut where he set the record for most points in a debut game in the Summer League, and so far he's looked awesome. Got to give credit to the Bulls nabbing him at pick 4. A lot of people were like he was the for sure 4. We'll see if he turns out to be one of the better players. Hopefully he does. Same time though, little nervous about Dalen Swain so far, how he's looked in the Bulls Summer League games. But again, as good as Caleb Wilson looks, hopefully it works out well. But you can't put too much stock in Summer League. Once the real games start, that's when you really got to pick it up and watch these guys play.
No doubt. Dalton, have you seen any of this? I mean, we talked about it last week with Nick Johnston, especially how Caleb Wilson talked about how he wants to be, basically, I'm not speaking verbatim, but the next Michael Jordan, like he wants to be at that level. That's crazy.
I mean, his athleticism is insane right now. I mean, he's dunking on anybody wants to get dunked on. Just get in line. Caleb Wilson's taking him out right now. Only thing I'm curious to see is how much he speeds up the timeline, how much he forces the hand of the Bulls to speed up their timeline, if that makes sense. Like, is he going to be so good and such a dominant player that the Bulls are going to be like, okay, well, maybe we're not rebuilding. Maybe we need to start adding pieces right now and get some experience in and, see how far this kid can take us, or if there's going to be a learning curve when, to Andrew's point, kind of when that regular season starts. And I'm just curious because it's Summer League. I don't want to get too over my skis here, but it's exciting to see what they got cooking right now.
The Bulls did sign Cristiano Felicio to a big contract after a big Summer League, so
that's
take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, this Caleb Wilson display or this performance already can elicit something like that if it carries over into the regular season. And with basketball, you only got 5 guys on the court. So if you've got Matas out there, you've got Caleb. I got to specify because we got 2 Calebs. The Blackhawks, I once again will say, could have done the funniest thing if they kept that 4th overall pick and Caleb Malhotra was there. But we'll stick with 2 Calebs here in Chicago for right now. But Caleb Wilson, if this Bulls team, like Dalton, you're saying, is ahead of schedule, could we see another Jerry Reinsdorf team that is ahead of schedule? That, of course, the White Sox never really said that they were going into a rebuild, but I mean, it was quite obvious when you have a 121 loss season, you're going to redo something, right? Yeah, it was the elephant in the room. It went unspoken, but the Bulls have basically come out. I mean, when you have your front office coming out over the offseason going, we're sorry and we're going to do better. If they do end up doing better and the Bulls still continue to have these high draft picks, they could be in a similar situation as the White Sox, right? And then, what do you do at that point? Do you just go all in then? Do you start making moves at deadlines to get your team competitive? Because then the worry, I think, from Bulls fans, and I might be over my skis here too, is are you then another play-in round team? And do you ever get past that point, right? Do you actually become that playoff team?
You could be. I mean, the last thing with Caleb Wilson too is I really like his attitude. I mean, you see a lot of like the other teams like shutting down their quote unquote superstars in summer league, and he like is lobbying to play. Like he wants to play, which I think is really rare, especially in the NBA.
Yes.
So the fact that he's got the kind of that grit, I think just shows you what they're starting to value maybe more in this Bulls organization, which I think is going to pay dividends moving forward.
You mean to tell me that he's not taking load management days already in summer league? Like
he's packing a lunch, Mike. Confirmed. Caleb Wilson packs his lunch.
Lunch pail. I want to see, the famous picture of the guys all sitting up on the beam on the skyscraper. I want to see Caleb Wilson and those guys all just sitting up there with their lunch pails, because I want to see not only just from the Bulls but with the NBA in general. Like I want to see some actual fire in these guys to actually want to play rather than be prima donna superstars. Sorry, not sorry. Like go and play, As far as players that will go out and play, and they are fighting, they're not taking necessarily load management days. It's just not happening yet. We got to look over at the WNBA because there's a lot going on here, and we won't really get to all of it before the break, but the Chicago Sky right now on a 2-game win streak, which is not a first this year, but very rare. They've only done it 2 prior times. So, I mean, that's huge. We have an all-star game coming up there as well. Dalton, you'll be there next week. Tell me a little bit about what you're excited for that and what we will see from our very own Chicago Sky at the United Center.
Yeah, the 3-point contest is on Friday and the skills competition. So looking forward to that. And then the actual game is Saturday evening. So hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Dwayne Wade. He's on the commissioner's board that helped put this whole event together. So hoping to pick his brain about maybe how he's going to be involved in the WNBA and maybe what he's going to be doing from a business adamant moving forward. So maybe he'll be the next commissioner. That would be awesome.
I think so, because I don't think he would stand up.
Kathy is not in good graces.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think he would stand up any radio shows or any daytime. Who was it? Why am I drawing a blank? Dan Patrick. Yeah. Oh, you said it too, and I didn't hear you. But yeah, Dan Patrick and the WNBA. Is that the next ones to step into the octagon over at UFC, or is it Tom Brady? I don't know. Is he joining WWE? I don't know. Maybe we could get to Conor McGregor last week, too. We've got a little bit of time here. But we do have to talk hockey with these two gentlemen that know pucks. So we will be jumping back here in just a second with some Blackhawks offseason news. Was Bowen Byram the right decision? And what are they going to do without Connor Bedard? All that and more right here on AM 1410 WRMN's On the Rise.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. The Blackhawks are moving the start time for most weeknight games to 7 p.m. instead of the traditional 7:30 next season. All weekend and holiday games will start no later than 6 p.m. The White Sox and Guardians are tied for the top spot in the AL Central. The Guardians begin a series at home tonight hosting the Pirates. 10-4 Gavin Williams gets the start for Cleveland. The Sox went into the break with wins in 3 in a row. The Guardians with wins in 4 straight. The White Sox begin a series at Toronto today with 6-4 Anthony Kay starting for Chicago, which agreed to contract terms with 20 of their 21 selections from the first-year player draft. The Cubs remain on the hunt, chasing Milwaukee in the NL Central. Chicago's 5 games back. They open a series at home tonight against the Twins. 7-5. Colin Ray takes the ball. The Brewers are home, hosting the Marlins. Logan Henderson, the starter for Milwaukee. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive.
I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
If there's one thing you can count on, it's 24/7 protection when you bundle home and auto insurance with Progressive. And if there's 2 things you can count on, it's your smoke detector battery dying at 3 a.m. Not 3 p.m. on a Saturday when you have nothing going on, but in the middle of the night when you're fast asleep.
Oh, come on!
Get 24/7 protection when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Just one more thing you can count on. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic. Plus, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals. And it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Do you ever crave a delicious treat, but that pesky guilt lingers over you? Well, you can have your dessert and eat it too. Desserts that's gluten-free, keto, vegan, and actually delicious. Yes, we're serious. At Desserts Without Regrets, located in Gilbert's, we bake for people who read labels. Custom cookies, celebration cakes, and treats made with clean ingredients and zero guilt. No walk-ins, because great dessert takes planning. Pre-order only at dessertswithoutregrets.com or call Daria at 312-610-9033. That's Desserts Without Regrets, because dessert should never be a regret. Looking to set sail on your dream vacation? Cruises International has you covered. Specializing in land and sea getaways, they're here to make your vacation unforgettable. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, they offer personalized service with a global network of specialists to ensure your trip is tailor-made just for you. Call today at 800-255-7447 to speak with a cruise and vacation expert. And don't miss Travel Tuesdays on WRMN AM 1410 every first Tuesday of the month from 11 to 12 p.m. That's Cruises International. Your vacation, your way.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. Starting today, an air quality alert is in effect for the listening area. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 88. A chance of showers and thunderstorms is possible. Tonight, areas of smoke with partly cloudy skies, a low around 65. Currently, it's 83 and partly cloudy. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN's On the Rise. Myself, Mike Napolitano, joined by Andrew Rubin in studio and Dalton Cooper via Zoom. We also have a bunch of social media platforms that you could find us on. That is On the Rise and WRMN on both Facebook and Instagram, as well as TikTok. There is a WRMN X or Twitter now, I saw, and then an On the Rise Twitter as well. I'm so bad at X and Twitter, and I shouldn't be, because that's where sports usually happens. I know, guys, yell at me for it, but you can find me most on Instagram, and you can find all of our personals via those actual accounts. We got to get into some more of the. Actually, I had a couple more notes about WNBA and wrapping things up. We talked about the Sky with back-to-back wins. J.C. Sheldon actually coming up clutch for this Sky team. So, I mean, hey, listen, they are sitting at 9-16, but hosting the All-Star game at the United Center. They have one more game at the United Center this year against the Indiana Fever. So that rivalry is still alive and well, despite you not having Angel Reese here. You're going to have the primetime Caitlin Clark in the house. Gentlemen, is the league doing all that it can to protect her and some of its other star players? And are they marketing her the way that they need to? Dalton, I'll go to you, because I know you were, I think, were you at a Sky game this week, credentialed?
I don't appreciate all these loaded questions you're asking us.
I'm getting to business today.
I don't know if I appreciate the loaded these cupcake questions that you're bringing here. No, of course not. They're not protecting her. First of all, she's missed multiple games this year due to getting punched in the throat. I think a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, punched in the throat.
No, they don't market her enough. I mean, for some reason, the league. I guess when I say the league, I think the players inside the league don't like her, and then for some reason the leadership of the league doesn't want to market her correctly, which is crazy because they voted her the 11th best point guard by her peers.
Yeah,
but
come on.
Stat, she's the second or third at worst.
And that was second or third in the game, I think, at all positions, right? But yet she's probably the best point guard in the game, right? So she's number one there, number three if you take the entire league. stat-wise. And then, yeah, they voted her 11th, bro. I think they marketed her better when she was coming out of college. There was all the hype about the WNBA, and she was getting drafted, and this was going to build the league. And then they've done basically nothing with her other than not protect her. I think they took the whole argument that people have about the NBA, about how, the game needs to get tougher like it was in the 90s, and try to implement it into WNBA. But now, is it too much of a free-for-all out there? You can't be swinging.
By the way, she did have 45 points and 10 assists yesterday in her game.
Yeah, first ever 45-10 game, or 40-10 game. Yeah.
When she's shooting from the logo, and I know that's been like the saying with her the entire time, like, yeah, she's the face of your league. She's going to put up those type of numbers so long as she's healthy. So keep her healthy. I mean, when it's more of a talking point that Sophie Cunningham pointed at at an opponent, but we're not talking about Caitlin Clark getting punched in the throat. Like, what? I don't understand that. Yes, we are a Sky show
she's
here.
on a run too. She was the ring gal, right? Like, she's been on quite a run. Yeah.
Yep. I did see that. Anyways, we got to go into maybe a little bit of that UFC fight. Listen.
Nah, we're good.
You don't want to?
No.
We didn't even talk about America 250. I didn't get your thoughts on that.
It's not worth talking about.
Listen, I'll say this. And I've said this off the show to many people that I've had this discussion with. I think it was a very cool event. I think it's unique. We're going to get into hockey in a little bit. I'd like to see maybe like a Winter Classic out on the White House lawn. I think that would be cool. I do think that some rooms in the White House should be maybe a little bit off limits. Like, we don't need to like take them out of everywhere. Like, it was the walkouts were cool. Don't get me wrong. But listen, the amount of concerts that are had on Wrigley Field or Soldier Field, and they put down these plastic mats to protect the grass, because guess what? The Cubs or the Bears even the Fire have to play there the next week, right? Why couldn't we protect the White House lawn like that? Why did it have to get torn up? That's all I'll say about that. But this McGregor fight, I'd be so upset if I bought a ticket. Like, what? And listen, he's getting older. I understand injuries happen, but the UFC, do they have to come up with some kind of like contingency clause? Like, we were talking about this with some of my other hockey friends. Do they have to have like an e-bug situation? Like somebody who's willing to fight Max Holloway can come out of the stands, sign waivers, and do this fight instead of Conor McGregor, who didn't even last 30 seconds. Talk about, never mind, I'm not going to finish that sentence. But like, that was just all the people who had bets on it, because sports betting is such a big thing now. Like, Vegas made their money, I'm sure, but this fight happened in Vegas, and if you spent hard-earned money to buy a ticket to this, and yes, you saw a card full of a bunch of other great fights, but the main event goes like that? Andrew, did you catch any of this?
I did.
I
did. It sucks. Like you said, I think the e-bug thing would be electric, personally, but I don't know how many takers you would get that would be like, oh yeah, let me go fight one of the dangerous men in the world. Like, yeah, I'll just go run into this octagon. That seems like a good idea. But if it were to happen and you were there, I mean, that would be an all-timer. And if the guy were to win, that'd be the greatest story probably in the history of sports.
Probably. I mean, he'd have to have had some kind of like fighting background, right? But like, he's still not a pro. He's still technically an amateur, right? Unless you're just pulling another pro from your UFC card that could be on standby. But then at that point, like, you've lost all of the hype of the fight, because all the buildup was Holloway versus McGregor, A versus B, and now you have to throw in C, right? So
if you beat the champion, does that rando get the belt then?
Yeah, right.
And then do they have to defend it?
Jump to the top.
Think of all the different betting lines you have to make too, because you didn't have to make You have to make betting lines for, like, if that guy gets hurt and the other guy gets tagged in, what's the odds of him beating the original guy? Yeah,
I guess that's a good thing, right? More betting lines, more money going into the system for
not chances to lose.
Not for us, not for our little guy over here, but like for Vegas, for the sports books, I'm sure they'd love that. For the UFC, Dana White's going to make his money, that's for sure.
Spoken like a true company man.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, listen, like I said, I'd love to see, maybe some outdoor events. Capitals versus Rangers, I think, would be pretty patriotic. But that was
Times Square.
Oh, in Times Square would be really cool. That would screw up New York traffic, but not like they're not already doing that themselves, So as long as there's no Knicks fans around, boy, oh boy, that'd turn into chaos immediately. Yikes.
All the trash cans would be gone.
Yeah, right. Yeah, oh my gosh. Maybe climbing the street poles just to get a better vantage point at, I don't know, Ovechkin. If it was Rangers versus Capitals, they'd be like, OV, you're not a Knicks fan, you scum. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Well, getting into hockey, we had a schedule release this past week for the Blackhawks. Home opener, October 6th, against the rival St. Louis Blues. The Blackhawks do open their season against the Vegas Golden Knights, so the defending Western Conference champions. That'll be on September 29th, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So the earliest I think that the NHL season has ever started, and the preseason has been shortened to just 4 games. So is this the year? I haven't actually gone through and counted.
2 extra games.
Yep,
Is it 84 officially now? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So yeah, there's your 2 fewer preseason games, 84 game regular season. So you can no longer go 41-41. You could go 42-42. But let's hope the Blackhawks have a winning record, come close to making the playoffs. They're trying to make those steps forward. We got to jump into the Bowen Byram deal. I'll throw it over to Andrew because I think we share a very similar take on this. Dalton, I know you were kind of opposed at first. We'll see if you've changed your tune, but I don't think it's that bad. He is a Stanley Cup champion. Yes, he was never a number 1 on a team, but the Blackhawks are getting that veteran defenseman. He immediately slots in as your number 1. They needed a left-handed defenseman, right? So you lose size in Crevier. Sure, you lose draft picks, but those are lottery tickets to me at this point. I'd rather have something established. He had a great year with Buffalo. I think he could be a part of the answer for this Blackhawks defense in front of Spencer Knight.
I think so. His plus minus was well in the plus. I believe it was a plus 15 last year. If you're a believer in that, compare that to Artem Levshinov. You're very much improved.
To Blackhawks fans right now.
But a lot of people are also arguing about the contract. I know it looks like a lot now. Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar are going to sign for next season, and it's going to make Bowen Byram's contract look normal when they sign for 15, 16, 17, 18 million.
When Brian Campbell signed with the Blackhawks in 2009, his contract was about 11% of the salary cap at that time. This Bowen Byram deal, when this cap goes up, I don't know if it's year 1, but I think it's either year 2 or year 3, it becomes 11% of the cap. Like you're talking one of your top defensemen when you first started winning cups. Of course, he was really only with the Blackhawks for that first cup. And then, of course, that cap catastrophe went on. But Dale Talon's still great GM. But now you have a very similar situation. And it's not Seth Jones where you're paying him a bunch of money to be on a retooling Blackhawks that are going to take one more push at it, and you're not sure who the leadership is in the locker room. You've got an aging Marc-Andre Fleury coming in. Yes, legend, but still, it was free-for-all. What are we doing? But Dalton, have you come to terms with the fact that this was not as deep of a draft, so it's okay to trade the 4th overall for an established 4th overall pick in Bowen Byram? Do you like it? And also your thoughts on the contract?
I don't know. I just think it's I think it's more of an interesting player for Kyle Davidson to bet his career on, in my opinion. Because I think that's what he's doing. I think that's more of the perspective. I'm not mad about them moving the pick. I mean, I understand kind of the logic and what they're trying to do, but for Kyle Davidson, I think this is a kind of move that is either going to get you a blank extension contract, or this is the kind of move that gets you fired. So I think that's more of where I see it, because everybody's always talked about he's never had a good free agency signing. He hasn't really ever gotten the big fish. And this is going to be the biggest fish he's brought in to date, outside of obviously draft picks or whatever. But that's where I'm at. When you're going to really put all of your eggs into the Bo Byram basket, because if he doesn't have, 70 to 80 points next season and look like a quarterstone defenseman, and, if he flops and has a 50-point season and is a minus player, it doesn't, if he doesn't take control of the power play, it could be a long, long season for this Blackhawks team and for Kyle Davidson.
I think the Blackhawks definitely needed help veteran-wise on the back end, right? And not the veterans like the Alec
25.
Martinez's that are...
Let's not get carried away with the veteran
Well,
thing.
Right. And yes, he hasn't been a number 1, I know, is what people have been throwing out there, but he's played with the Devontaes and the Cale Makars, and then in Buffalo, he went on a playoff run again this year with a Buffalo team that had seen a playoff drought, right? So, and he was a big part of that. You mentioned his plus-minus stats, and so, yeah, I do think... I like you adding in biggest free agency signing to date with Kyle Davidson, because I do think that like he can't bet his career on this one. If he bets his career on this one, yeah, you could see Kyle Davidson walking out the door. And I don't think he's a bad general manager by any means. Like I think he's done a pretty good job given what he's been handed here with this Chicago franchise. Like he's in some tough situations with having to let superstars like Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane go in order to usher in this new era and get talent back into the system, right? And you don't get Connor Bedard if Patrick Kane stays or if Alex DeBrincat stays, or you know, you have that Kirby Dach flub of a third overall pick, and no offense to Kirby Dach, I think he can still be a great player. It's just the injuries, and he never really showed that here in Chicago. He had a better season this year now that Montreal's in the playoffs. But I'm going on a tangent here. I think this Byram deal is good. I think it's what you need defensively to be a young guy, but also established in the league to help these rookies not be minuses this year. To teach Artem Levshunov that, yes, you can be that riverboat gambler defenseman, but you also have to play a little bit structurally so that you're not being a, minus 27 on the season, I think is where he finished around.
It was way worse.
Oh, it was way
worse.
Was it minus 40s?
I believe so.
Oh, Lord.
Possibly even 50s.
I think I stopped tuning in after a while, after it got so bad. But yes, you do need something else. So I don't think this is your biggest free agent signing. I think you need something on the front end to help Connor Bedard and have the Blackhawks secured that. No, not yet. Free agency is still going on. But some of the bigger names, like the Jason Robertsons, and I'm trying to think of some other names that were connected to the Blackhawks that, you know, were
minus
rumored.
41, by the way.
Oh, minus 41. Okay, yeah, way worse. That's for sure. I just
games.
Like I don't see a whole lot happening. They did sign Drew Commesso to a 2-year contract, so you have some more goaltending locked up. Other than this Bowen Byram deal, it sounds like they're close with a Connor Bedard deal, but we'll have to get into that because of the injury. And I didn't hear what Nick said about Connor Bedard last week and if he actually got into it. But Nick in our group chat, not to call him out, was saying what some other people have said. Is Connor Bedard a bust? And I don't think so. I think you just need to put something around him, and that comes with that big free agency signing. Well, and also he needs to get healthy. I'm jumping
right.
to.
This has got more to do with him than it does with the team around him.
When Connor Bedard in his first 3 seasons of the Blackhawks, despite having injuries every single season, as we were just kind of alluding to, despite missing big chunks of time, he has surpassed Patrick Kane in points for a rookie in Blackhawks history, points before 20 years old for a Blackhawk. And I'm talking, he's passing the Dennis Savards, the Eddie Olczyks, and the Patrick Kanes. Like, when he's setting these type of records, like, I don't think you could call him a bust. Before his injury last year, he was keeping pace with Macklin Celebrini, and it just wasn't being talked about because the narratives were different. You had a struggling San Jose team that Macklin Celebrini was, supposed to be that guy, but they didn't think he would be necessarily like Connor Bedard level, and then here he is doing those things. And yes, don't get me wrong. Right. I'm not saying that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to make sure
Yeah. We've talked about this before. I know. Listen, I'm putting them in the same boat for right now when Bedard is healthy. But yes, injuries are a part of the game and they're a factor. And Macklin Celebrini had a much better season. And right now he's a much better player because he can play a full 82 right now and he's healthy. And he took that Sharks team to new levels. He's more of a game breaker than I think. He's more of a flashy game breaker than I think Connor Bedard is. Connor Bedard can do a lot of the littler stuff, but he's only flashy at times, right? But he is that structured. He's that, not to make comparisons, but he is that combination of Toews and Kane, where like he's not as flashy as Patrick Kane. Sometimes he is, but he's doing the little things right, like a Jonathan Toews, and hopefully leading, and hopefully he gets a little extra patch stitched on his jersey this year. We'll see. I think that'll help him a little bit. Actually, Jeremy Roenick was saying the same thing to me on Monday. He was saying, I think the captaincy may help him. But also you've got that narrative of San Jose being a dumpster fire, and boom, all of a sudden they've got this great rebuild going on, and hockey's alive in the Southern California and San Jose specifically, because it's also alive in LA and Anaheim. But the Chicago Blackhawks have been bad for so long. I had, not to still ramble on here, but I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he said, the Blackhawks rebuild's been going on for like 10 years now. No. Pause. The Blackhawks rebuild has been going on for 3 years. Before that, it was a tank to get Connor Bedard. And before that, it was a GM that had no idea what he was doing. It was retooling. It was, we're filling gaps with stuff that we don't really have in the farm system. So, it's almost 10 years that the Blackhawks haven't been in the actual playoffs, right? 2020 was a bubble. But this hasn't been a rebuild the entire time. Let's be honest here. So, Dalton, you looked like you had an opposite take there. You looked frustrated.
No, the more I'm sitting here looking at pros and tools, I think Frondell is going to overtake Bedard as their best player. I think Frondell is. I think if we were going to take next 10 years, I think I would take Frondell over Connor Bedard.
I don't know about best player. I've heard the argument that he overtakes Frank Nazar as second best as the number 2 right now.
I think he's bound. I don't think Frank Nazar is even in the same class as Anton Frondell.
My buddy, Frank Nazar. You're going to do him to him like that?
I mean, like Frank. Frank's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But I just think the ceiling for Frondell is well above.
You're going to come at my paisan like that? I know where you live.
It's not above Bedard, and it's not even close.
Yeah, no. Bedard will be talked about as going to Olympic teams. Not that Frondell won't. I mean, you saw what he did in World Juniors.
Frondell will play for Team Sweden for the next 15 years.
Right, and that's the 1-2 punch that you need, right? If Nazar does drop out of that conversation, and I think you're onto something there with Frondell. As much as I want it to be Frank Nazar, he's a good paisano, but we can only have so many of those here in Chicago, and Sam Antonacci and Kyle Teal are stealing all the glory, right? But I don't know. What were your thoughts and what do you think? Do you have a number in your head on what Connor Bedard will make despite this 4-month injury? That will, by the way, bring him back probably late October. Everybody's freaking out that, he's going to be injured for the whole season again. They're just not going to start the season with him. I don't think it's going to be. And let's remind everybody that they say 4 months, even back into the Patrick Kane days, like 2015 when he broke his collarbone. They said 12 weeks for Patrick Kane. He came back in 6. They're just being cautious about it. Of course, Connor Bedard's going to want to get out there sooner rather than later. So I'm not saying he'll start the season with the Blackhawks, but he'll probably come back mid-October. I'm not freaking out.
No, and he's the face of the Blackhawks. He's their best player. He's their best goal scorer by far. He's never even had a chance with a line mate. Imagine what Connor Bedard could do if he had a competent line mate.
What a concept.
He was right in line with Macklin Celebrini in points. It was Bedard and Celebrini right behind McKinnon right around that Olympic break, and everybody was like, is it going to be Connor Bedard or Macklin Celebrini making the team? And I was like, well, they're 2 of the top 3-point guys in the league. Why are they both not going to make the team? Which, by the way, Team Canada had problem goal scoring. They have problems picking their players for World Juniors. Shout out Canada for losing the United States over and over again. I mean, imagine if Connor Bedard had a guy that could make him a pass. The guy was playing with Andre Burakovsky for 60 games, and the guy in the final 30 games had 1 assist with Connor Bedard on his line. That is the most pathetic showing of hockey maybe I've ever seen. You can't pick up a secondary assist to Connor Bedard.
That's another guy that has won 2 Stanley Cups, and that's kind of what I was talking about with the Alec Martinez's and Pat Maroon's, great players, but well past their prime. That they're not even helping Connor Bedard out there. Patrick Maroon was so slow on Bedard's line, and Bedard's trying to be one of the fastest players and gain that extra step speed-wise in his game, right? So, you need a little bit more veteran youth, if that makes sense. It's kind of an oxymoron, but you need that guy like a Bowen Byram that's right in that age group. Maybe Silver Brainy wouldn't be Silver Brainy if he had Bedard with him in Canada.
Imagine if Connor Bedard had Will Smith. That's the difference. You don't need a superstar. You don't need a Kucherov on Bedard's line. Give me a guy that can score 60 points in a year, and I'm sure Bedard will drop 40 Genos easily, no problem.
If Connor Bedard had Will Smith on his line, would he be getting jiggy with it or hitting home runs in the 9th inning of World Series? Which Will Smith are we talking about? No, I'm kidding.
You realize that Macklin Celebrini had 115 points. The next highest point total on the team is 59.
Yeah, there is a drop-off. Don't get me wrong. But, when you have
guys... It's double.
Yeah. There's a lot of times that he's doing things on his own. That's where it goes back into me talking about how he is that flashy game breaker. I think Bedard has the potential to be that game breaker. Like we said, he kept pace with Macklin Celebrini. Do you think if Connor Bedard was healthy all of last year, he would be if he was still keeping pace with Macklin Celebrini? Do you think the next closest player on the Blackhawks would be half the point total? No, not even. The Blackhawks, the gap between Bedard and his teammates is way more than the gap between Macklin Celebrini and his teammates, I think.
Tyler Bertuzzi just had a career year in goals.
Yeah, had a career
58 points, and he played, I believe, at least 10 more, maybe 15 more games than Will Smith on the year. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even a comparison.
We're comparing Tyler Bertuzzi to Will Smith. Will Smith is going to be that number 2 established in San Jose. Well, other than, why am I drawing a blank of who they drafted this year at number 2 overall?
Stenberg.
Ivor Stenberg.
Yeah.
So, like, Stenberg might end up becoming their number 2 if Will Smith isn't already. But, like, that core is already being established there. What is the core here in Chicago? I'm talking points-wise, because Spencer Knight, yes, part of the core, for sure. But offensively, even if you want to look at on the back end, if there's a big offensive numbered guy, like, yeah, maybe Bowen Byram's not a big point getter, but like, okay, you could talk core there. But offensively, what's the core for the Blackhawks right now? It's Connor Bedard, and if we're having questions about Frank Nazar, then yes, it's Frondell, but it's still very early, right? Like, we didn't get a whole season of Frondell yet.
Yeah, for 3 years, if you're game planning against the Blackhawks, it's literally walking in, if I'm the coach, writing 98 on the board and saying, don't let him get the puck. Anybody else, they can do whatever they want out there.
Yeah.
And there's no other team in the NHL that it's like that, which it's a shame that the way Connor Bedard's been treated so far.
Real quick, before we go, I asked both Dennis Savard and Jeremy Roenick this question. I think I asked them both. And they had interesting answers. I'll post the videos later on this week so you guys can see. Does Patrick Kane come back to Chicago? It's down between that and Buffalo.
No.
I'm leaning towards no as well, only because we spoke to Kaylee Chelios' husband, and he said that his father-in-law, Chris Chelios went on that radio show and said it's between Buffalo and Chicago, but I still don't see a reunion here in Chicago. However, that would maybe be the superstar to play with Connor Bedard.
It would be incredible. The amount of things that Kane could teach him would be unbelievable. By the way, Patrick Kane still owns his house in Lake Forest where his significant other and son live. Putting that out there.
That'd be good. All right, ladies and gents. Banana Ball next weekend. We'll see you. Dalton Cooper, Andrew Rubin, Mike Napolitano on the rise.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-234-0316. 800-234-0316. That's 800-234-0316.
Welcome to WRMN, your trusted voice in the Fox River Valley for over 75 years. We bring you fact-based news, good faith discussions, and entertainment that brings people together. From national headlines to local stories, WRMN is your home for thoughtful dialogue and community engagement. No matter the time of day, where you're listening from, or who you are always welcome here. Thanks for making us a part of your day. This is the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 12 o'clock.
With your news flash, I'm Ryan Gatenby, brought to you by Bank of America.
A fire at a Naperville home caused an estimated $100,000 in damage Tuesday afternoon. Firefighters responded to a residence on Williamsburg Drive after a 911 caller reported a smoky smell. Crews found smoke and a small fire in the attic before quickly extinguishing the blaze. All occupants escaped safely and no injuries were reported. Officials determined the fire was unintentional and the home was still considered habitable. A Broadview man is facing felony charges after police say he burglarized York High School in Elmhurst. Investigators say Henry Ponder entered the school through an unlocked door and later an unsecured window in June. Police say surveillance video showed him spending about 3 hours inside, entering classrooms and taking clothing and a backpack. Ponder was also accused of pulling down his pants while inside the school. Wildfire smoke from Canada moved into northern Illinois, creating unhealthy air quality conditions across Lake and McHenry counties Thursday. The poor air prompted closures and cancellations, including early shutdowns at Six Flags Great America, pool closures, and canceled outdoor events. Health officials warned the the smoke can be especially dangerous for children, older adults, and people with breathing or heart conditions. Residents are being advised to limit outdoor activity, keep windows closed, and monitor air quality updates. Officials say more closures or schedule changes could happen as conditions continue to be monitored. An Elgin man will spend 16 years in prison after being convicted of drug-induced homicide involving a fatal fentanyl overdose. Prosecutors say Liddell Walker Sr. delivered narcotics containing fentanyl in September 2023, which led to the victim's death. Text messages and phone calls presented during trial helped establish Walker's role in the drug delivery. McHenry County State's Attorney Randy Freese warned that those distributing fentanyl will be aggressively pursued and held accountable.
I'm Ryan Gatenby with your news flash.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
One game around Major League Baseball on Thursday. The Mets beat the Phillies by a 4-1 final. The rest of the league picks up the second half of the season today. The White Sox and Guardians are tied for the top spot in the AL Central. The Guardians begin a series at home tonight hosting the Pirates. 10-4 Gavin Williams gets the start for Cleveland. The Sox went into the break with wins in 3 in a row. The Guardians with wins in 4 straight. The White Sox begin a series at Toronto today with 6-4 Anthony Kay starting for Chicago, which agreed to contract terms with 20 of their 21 selections from the first-year player draft. The Cubs remain on the hunt, chasing Milwaukee in the NL Central. Chicago's 5 games back. They open a series at home tonight against the Twins. 7-5 Colin Ray takes the ball. The Brewers are home hosting the Marlins. Logan Henderson, the starter for Milwaukee. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive.
I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
The Colonel is the king of chicken. That's why he's always had a beef with beef. But on Wednesdays, he's squashing the beef by frying it. KFC Country Fried.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. An air quality alert is in effect today, issued by the National Weather Service. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 88. A chance of showers and thunderstorms is possible. Tonight, areas of smoke with partly cloudy skies, a low around 65. Currently, it's 84 and mainly clear. I'm Sarah Silver.